the Marvel Comics world, Hank Pym is really like, he is one of the elder statesmen of the Marvel world.
Because he's one of the original Avengers, he's someone we've been dying to bring to the big screen.
Ant-Man actually is one of the most dangerous Avengers.
An incredibly powerful character.
I can shrink, and that's actually really, really cool. It isn't like I'm this big and I have the strength of a normal person. I actually exceed the strength of a normal person.
It's not just a guy in a suit who's incredible. It's a guy in a suit and legions of ants.
Technology has finally caught up with the story of Ant-Man. We're able to really bring the audience down into his world in a way that's never been done before.
Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man.
Michael Douglas is playing Hank Pym, who was the original Ant-Man in the original Marvel series.
The guy is so good in so many good movies that, you know, you forget. I'd be in the middle of scenes and I'd just be like, oh my God, falling down, you know.
Michael is amazing because Michael thrives in these sort of characters who live in a gray area. You know they're a hero, but you don't know that they're always going to make the right choice.
This has been a whole new experience. I loved it. I've never been in the Marvel world before, never done any kind of this green screen special effects. So Ant-Man was definitely a new experience.
We need you. The Pym particle is a miracle, please. Don't let your past determine the future.
As long as I am alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
It's a 1989 version of Hank. I didn't know what anybody was talking about. They said, oh, this is the first day he looks like this. And so I haven't seen what he looks like present day.
Ants, they can do a lot of things, but they still need a leader. Somebody that can infiltrate a place that's designed to prevent infiltration. There's a strong heist element in terms of breaking into Pym Industries' head offices and snatching and stealing the secrets that Corey Stoll's character's been working on.
So excited to work on this movie. The only thing Marvel is really interested in is how good the movie can be.
With Paul, people really identify with him because he really is just one of us. He's just a regular good guy.
Paul is just killing it as Ant-Man. The character's just really likable. And I think that they're gonna feel for the guy and want him to succeed. Almost like a little bit of like a Robin Hood kind of thing.
I think our first move should be calling the Avengers.
One of the things that I was really happy to discover doing a movie at Marvel is they all have to work within this larger universe. But the amazing thing is that they're all allowed and actually encouraged to have their own individual tones and idiosyncrasies. So I was really thrilled to find out that this movie is encouraged to have its own specific tone. And the tone of this movie, it's comedic, but it's also a heist movie. So there's a rhythm that it has to have. And that rhythm really affected the way I shot the movie, and then, you know, in terms of music, the way we scored the movie. A little bit of jazzy vibe to it, and also really fun.
In every good heist movie, you need that moment where there's all this technical jargon flying back and forth, and the layman sitting in their seats is like, they're so smart, I have no idea what's going on, but they're gonna kick ass. I love it.
It feels sort of like a Ocean's 11 movie, you know, where you've got all these different little special teams.
Let's give it more heist tropes. You know, there are a couple of times where Luis has these tips about a possible thing, and the way we present it with him sort of telling the story and as this unreliable narrator and the camera's whipping around to these different people.
Yeah, crazy stupid fun.
Scott is estranged from his ex-wife and from his daughter, and these guys are his family in the movie. And, you know, when they come back toward the end of the movie, when he suggests, like, we might need some other guys to pull this thing off, there's such an uplift from the audience when they see the movie because you just love these characters.
It's like Hawaiian pizza. You know, you take some ham and some pineapple and some cheese and you're like, that's never gonna work. But in a weird way, it does.
They feel each other's pain because they're trying to do the right thing, and it's like, you know, society isn't trying to give them a second chance and not giving them a break. So ultimately, you know, they resort to their instincts.
Wait a minute, get out of that bed! It's too loud to the tank, I can't hear you!
There are things about, you know, the kind of token good guys in the movie who do things that are not so good.
It's not that easy for an ex-con to get any kind of jobs. So then we go on a heist, and then we start using our own particular skills for that heist.
We're this gang of kind of knucklehead criminals that are trying to turn something around.
We're actually doing good work, and you know, and it's funny. We're like, are we the good guys here?
Yeah, we're the good guys.
Feels kind of weird, you know.
I'm Shepard Frankel, the production designer on Ant-Man, and we are currently sitting in Luis's van. Luis is really proud of his van, but we kind of see it as a less than fancy van.
Nice.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that van, it definitely smells. You know, you just try to clean a turd and polish a turd, but it's still a turd. I mean, and it's even the color of a turd.
The van, man, it started out as a not so glamorous vehicle and turned into a not so glamorous vehicle.
And bag it up. Okay? All you're gonna do is we just bag it up.
Unless we break in and steal the Yellow Jacket and destroy all the data, Darren Cross is going to unleash chaos upon the world.
We are at PIM Technologies tonight, and we are going to blow it up. This is the climax of our film and the setting of the big heist that pays off all the setup that we've been building throughout the entire movie. Scott Lang, Hank Pym, and Hope Van Dyne have been meticulously planning this event, and it all pays off right here. We were at the Georgia Archives building, and it was a long road trying to find a location that felt like it could be a place Hank Pym built in the early 90s, but also house all the future technologies that his protege, Darren Cross, puts into it and builds within it.
The charges are set. We've got to find a way out of here, and fast.
Don't worry. I'm not going to die. And neither are you.
A tank, which seems like a innocuous little keychain throughout the entire movie, is going to suddenly expand in the 10th story of a giant building and careen through the side, smash into a fountain, and explode.
We need a doctor!
We decided we would do it as a full-size element. We built a wall that replicates the side of the building. We built basically a steel shape that's the same size as the tank. It weighs about 3 tons. We put it on the track back behind the wall, and we shot it through the wall at 25 miles an hour. You look at how dirty and how messy and how great it looked with all that debris, all that stuff flying through the air and the stuff breaking. I mean, it's hard probably to model that with a computer. It's just, you get so much value out of something like this on set. It just looks different.
Multiple shots fired! And there's a tank.
One of the things that's so fun about working on Marvel films is you get to adapt the costumes from the comic books.
We tried to keep very faithful to the Marvel concept, because that's ultimately the goal.
They gave us a couple of shots of the helmet and of the suit, and I basically worked from that.
Anything that is close up on him, he wears his beauty suit, which has got hard shoulders, hard corners, hard helmet. If he has to do a stunt, he would wear one that all those elements are made in a rubber form, so it's much more bendable and he can move more.
It never gets old. You never lose that rush of seeing the actor for the first time in the finished version of the costume.
When I put it on the first time, I stood differently. And I couldn't get over the fact that I was in the Ant-Man suit.
I actually was like, man, I wish I had a suit. That's the only time you ever think of, like, I wish I had a suit in one of these movies.
He walked into the room and I was just like, oh my God, that's so cool.
He's in like an Eddie Murphy Raw suit. So it's pretty funny.
Sexy. Nah, man, I was just, what if you have to pee? You know, I don't see a zipper or nothing, man.
It reminds me in some ways of like Evel Knievel. You know, they even sort of mistakenly say, oh, there's just this motorcycle suit. It feels like a motorcycle suit in some ways. And even the shrinking device, it's just a big red button on the thing. There's something very analog about this suit. I'm heavily biased on this issue, obviously, but I think the Ant-Man suit is the best designed suit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Paul was working out a lot, so we knew from his first fitting that he would lose a lot of weight by the time we got to the final suit. I think he's lost about 5.5 inches off his waist since November.
From the very first frame of the movie, when you see Paul, it's like, oh, wow, look at Paul Rudd. that dude is chiseled. He's badass.
For about a year before we started shooting, I had to stop doing anything fun and then go to the gym a lot. I had to take these tumbling classes and learn, how to do flips and light parkour. And it was just complete immersion in trying to get in shape and focused for the job at hand. Because normally the parts I play, they don't ever even want me in shape. I did some of the mocap stuff early on, like the first week, and I was like, I've been working hard for a year, and I'm rolling around, I'm doing flips, and I'm doing, and after about 30 minutes, I gotta take 10 minutes. This is really hard, I'm exhausted, it's super tiring. And then Colin, who's doing things like falling 3 stories and landing on a metal bar and then flipping over again, would just do it all day. Never complain. He's got that stunt guy thing that they are cowboys. They don't complain, they just get up, do it again. And even the stunt team, even the other stunt people were like, Colin is insane. He's unbelievable. Like I think he's the real superhero of the movie.
We are on the bathtub set. This is for Scott's first shrink. We'll pull Colin along, start him here, hang him on the wires, run, up as high as they want us to take him.
The only thing that's uncomfortable about the wire work is the harness digs into places that you don't really want it getting dug into. But no, it's not too bad, and it's fun. I mean, it's all really fun.
You want to show me how to punch? Show me.
That's how you punch. Hope Van Dyne is an expert at Muay Thai, which I'm obviously not. And I had to learn how to sort of hopefully move in a convincing way to make it seem like I could be an expert. And I could train a man who's been in prison and been in a lot of fist fights how to properly fight and kick his ass, which I do. And it's pretty cool.
Paul had so much, he was writing, he was working out. And I think Evangeline really, she dove into that fight choreography. I would not want to go into the ring with Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah. Give me something.
I have blast.
Punch him in the stomach.
I have blast.
Abort, Scott. Abort now.
It's okay. He can't see me.
I can see you.
He can see me.
They wanted an opportunity to introduce Ant-Man into the Avengers world because eventually, hopefully, in a comic book, he becomes an Avenger, so voila. I come and help that storyline out.
We are about halfway through the Ant-Man versus Falcon fight. This is a scene where Ant-Man is small, he's punching Falcon in the face, and Falcon uses his jets and goes flying off backwards while he's firing at, hopefully trying to hit Ant-Man while he's small.
It's really important to me that Cap never finds out about this.
We're introducing not only a pillar of the MCU in Hank Pym, but also the future of the MCU with Scott Lang. He's going to be Ant-Man in Captain America Civil War and beyond, and Hope Van Dyne is also going to have her place in the MCU in a big way, taking on the mantle of the Wasp that her mother once had.
It's about damn time.
It helped in sort of planting certain seeds that if we're fortunate enough to kind of get to do another Ant-Man, to explore those later on.
Each time these characters are in a different film, they inherit some new DNA from that project they can bring over. Like you would in having a new experience, it changes you in some way. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Paul Rudd as Scott Lang mixes with the Avengers that are in Captain America 3. I think he's going to be a standout. His power set is so interesting compared to the other group, but he also has the comedic sensibilities that are really going to be fun to watch.
Nobody has any idea how unique it is, how different it is, and how people are going to want to see this little guy take on all the villains of the world.
Got this?
That's officially it. That is the end, the wrap on principal photography for Ant-Man. Thank you all.